Donald Trump has now come out with a very specific 4-point plan to get Mexico to pay for the wall. This is, and what's astonishing is that the 4 points are actually things that could work. You know, putting a tariff on Mexico. Because NAFTA was not treated correct. NAFTA was a treaty, but it was not treated as a treaty. It was treated as a so-called trade agreement. So it is not the constitutional law of the land. Treaties actually supersede the Constitution, or they become essentially part of the Constitution. They supersede all local, state, and federal law. So had NAFTA been voted on by 2/3 of the Senate, as the Constitution requires for deals like this, that involve, you know, trade with other countries, it's very, very explicit. All of these trade deals are unconstitutional. Had it been a treaty, Donald Trump wouldn't be able to suggest this, but because it's simply a law, it's simply a trade agreement that we signed on to. You know, the president can ignore it. He can choose not to enforce it. And, you know, and Congress can just unsign us from it. So what he says on day one, he's going to promulgate a proposed rule, a regulation amending 31 CFR 130.121 to redefine financial institutions to include money transfer companies like Western Union and redefine account to include wire transfers. In other words, people working in the United States and sending money home to Mexico to their families, they'll no longer be able to do that. On day two, he says Mexico is going to freak out because they're getting $24 billion a year from people who are working in the United States and sending the money home to their families. On day three, tell Mexico that if the Mexican government will contribute X billion to the United States to pay for the wall, the Trump administration will not promulgate the final rule. And number four, trade tariffs or enforcement of existing trade rules. And, canceling visas. Immigration is a privilege, not a right. He's going to cancel Mexican visas, and he's going to jack up visa fees if he doesn't cancel them and use that. I mean, we issue more than 1 million border crossing cards a year to Mexican citizens. He said, if we just charge enough for those things, we can pay for the wall. Very weird. I mean, the idea of the wall, in my mind, is stupid and unnecessary and environmentally destructive and human rights destructive and, you know, turns America into something like East Berlin. I mean, this just makes no sense to me at all. But here's, in the Republican Party, Trump starting to fill in some of his really what we thought were weird and impossible policy prescriptions by saying, okay, here's the details. Much like, you know, I suppose, like Bernie said, okay, here's exactly how I will pay for single-payer health care for everybody. Here is exactly how I will pay for free college tuition for everybody at public universities and junior colleges. And so as these candidates start filling this in, if the parties, in particular the Republican Party, if the party takes away that nomination from the guy who's actually ahead, I think all hell's going to break loose.
You're listening to the Thom Hartmann Program. Call 202-536-2370.
And I think even though Paul Ryan is one of the Koch brothers, you know, golden boys, he's going to face an incredible blowback.
To watch more clips from our programs, hit the Watch More Videos button over here. And please be sure to hit the handy-dandy subscribe button so you'll always be up to date. Tag, you're it.